Alright, gang, so here we are with the official reveal of SH MonsterArts Shimo. We got the tease a month ago with Scar King, and now she's been revealed here in her full glory. And to say that the reception has been not so great is definitely an understatement. I posted late last night on my YouTube page the first 4 images to come out, 19 inches long, 27,500 yen, alternate Kong faceplate, and we got 70 comments, and I think like 2 of them are positive. As you make your way down, it's just like, no, 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 no. Poor Duncan. Duncan's here is like, looks neat, clean, and the first response is, no, that's not true. So yeah, people don't seem too keen on this release for a variety of reasons, and I definitely can understand where folks are coming from. So here she is. She appears to be based off of concept art of Shimo rather than how Shimo appears in the final film. There are comparisons all over the place on Twitter comparing Haya with how she looks in the movie, and then the MonsterArts how she looks in the concept art that we've seen. Now, one thing to note is she does appear to have some kind of iridescence to her. You could see like here around the face, a little bit in the arms, and then along down the tail. You can see there's like a purple sheen to her, which is how she appeared in the movie. She had that iridescence to her. I've seen the claim that this is just a result of like purple lighting or some kind of lighting in the back, making it appear that she's iridescent, which I'm not sure about, because like if you were to look at some of the other releases, solicitation images, like you have things like, I guess what they're saying is that the phenomenon is like this Kyu, right? Like even though he's on the black background, they've got like a red light to simulate how he appears in the movie. I don't, because Shimo is such a like a white color, I feel like if there was some purple light in the background doing this, like you would see it a lot more throughout the figure, whereas the purple, the shininess that you're seeing here is rather reserved. So I think it's an iridescent coat of paint, but I could be wrong on that. I fully accept I could be wrong. We'll find out more as we go, I guess. So 27,500 yen. Like that's a huge price to bite, right? Like that is wild. Now, the thing that makes the price, I guess, a little bit more digestible is the idea that Shimo is 19 inches long, which is it's so large, and I'm actually not very happy about that, which I'll talk about in a sec. But I guess just to give you some perspective, I've got my Cherno Alpha from NECA Pacific Rim. Let me switch over here. Right, so like, assuming that Godzilla Evolved is going to be 6 inch, he might be 7 inches tall. I'm not sure, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. But like 6 inches is what you expect here. And Shimo, this Cherno is 19 inches tall. So he's going to be, or sorry, she's going to be this long compared to Godzilla sitting on top. So like, yeah, I'm not really surprised about the price. Like, Tamashii went ahead and made Godzilla Evolved $140 at the 6 inch mark, and then they made Shimo the size of a tri-state area. Like, of course she's gonna be, what's the anticipated retail? Like $250 US, $260 US. So they made her gigantic, and so the price, it makes sense for the size, but why are they making her so big? This is my biggest problem that I have with Shimo. And really, it's a problem I have with Toho and Legendary. You have Haya come in and say, hey guys, like, hey, Toho and Legendary, we want to make Shimo in the 7 inch scale, and she's going to be 13 inches long. Toho and Legendary, like, great, approved. Bandai and Tamashii come in and they say, hey, we're going to make Shimo in the 6 inch scale, and we're going to make her 19 inches long. And Toho and Legendary are like, sounds good. Like, who is your brand manager that's managing these licensees? Like, it should be swapped. It should be that Haya in the 7 inch scale is the larger figure, and that MonsterArts is the smaller figure. Like, if Haya was doing a 19 inch long Shimo, it it would probably approach like the price tag that Ghidorah was at, like $110, $120. And you might see the MonsterArts, it won't come down to higher prices, but it's not going to be $250 US. So like, I'm more frustrated with how the brand is being managed by Toho than I am with like Bandai and their pricing here. Even though yes, they made it absurdly large, and they're charging a large price tag for it as well. So they're not innocent by any means. But I think I'm more frustrated with the fact that the brand manager is either not doing their job properly, or they're being like coerced in a way that doesn't make sense. There is no world in which a 6-inch version of Shimo should be larger than the 7-inch version of Shimo. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, the Western reception to Shimo has been pretty unhappy, but the Japanese perception, which again, you have to take into account the Japanese target market. They are the primary audience for MonsterArts. They seem pretty like okay with Shimo. Like the price tag is, it's pricing some of these folks out for sure, but they don't seem all that upset about it. And in fact, they're calling out the Western audiences for being so annoying. Like you see here, I think that screaming every time MonsterArts comes out with a release is a sign of mental illness. That's quite a take. If you're turning your thoughts on your own, no one will say anything, but you go out of your way to leave a reply, and even if you've been told 500 million times that people will buy this, you just make it sound like you're incompetent, you won't notice. You're no longer a mammal, which I guess is like you're no longer a person. Here, this person said, MonsterArts Shimo seems to be getting a lot of criticism from overseas, but I'd still buy it. I've just spent 70,000 yen on Kaiser Grid Knights overspec mode, so I have nothing to fear anymore. Based. Edith here saying, I like MonsterArts, however, it's no longer affordable. So they like the figure, but they're being priced out. There was someone else here. Where was it? I think it was here. They were calling out Aftermax G-Man. I saw a tweet that said that people who buy overseas MonsterArts are either stupid or hate money, and then this person replied, the point is that they take the level of stupidity of the mushroom and bamboo shoot wars very seriously. This must be some kind of Japanese adage, because I cannot piece this together at all. So if you know what this means, please do let me know. I'm actually very curious. So you can kind of see, like, yeah, here in the States, people not very happy with it. But over there in Japan, people seem to like it. People are not super happy about the price. There was one comment I saw, I didn't save the link, but they were saying that, like, you know, if Haya Toys did not exist, and if this thing was a little bit cheaper, people would probably buy it without issue. People have taken issue with the fact that it does seem to be based more on the concept art than her actual appearance in the film. And to that, it's like, yeah, like if you're going to buy MonsterArts, you want how the thing looks in the movie. It's kind of nice, I guess, that you have Haya for that on-screen complete movie accuracy, and then you have MonsterArts going with a little bit more stylization to go with the concept art look. Like Japanese manufacturers, like they always like their stylization to an extent, right? So I just figure that's going to be a given, rather than like an exception. Godzilla Evolved to me is the exception, that it looks so much like the movie, whereas Shimo is more in line with what I would have expected. Now people are comparing this to the large Shimo from Playmates, and I think if you were having this conversation in good faith, then, you know, you don't actually think this, but I do think that a fair comparison here is that the details on the Playmates figures, not even the large one, even the smaller one, get lost a little bit without the presence of any kind of black wash, and I think that is true here for the MonsterArts as well. I feel like a lot of this sculpted detail could use a little bit of a wash, like the Haya has, to bring out some of that detail. So I don't actually think that it's just an upscaled Playmates figure. This Playmates figure, I used a little bit of an image analysis program, by the way. I expect that this figure will be approximately the same size as the Haya Toys release. It is 7 inches here, but if you were to unfurl the tail, it's closer to 13 inches, which is approximately the same size as the Haya Toys. So, final thoughts on Shimo herself. She is at $250 US, anticipated US retail price. She is 4 times the price of the Haya US retail price. She is going to be, you know, probably 3 times the bulk, or 2 times the bulk maybe, but it's just a really hard pill to swallow. Now, the thing that's really annoying in my mind is this Kong head sculpt with the false tooth. I don't like the idea that I have to build my GXK Kong across multiple releases. There's an argument to be made that Kong with his false tooth is a more important accessory than the Beast Glove for this movie because he has the false tooth for a longer duration of the movie. And yet this head sculpt is included with the most expensive figure by a huge margin. Huge margin. I really don't like that. When I made my last video on Scar King, I talked about how the Beast Glove, like, I was interested in picking up Scar King for the Beast Glove. It actually added to the value of the purchase for me. Since then, I've come back around on the Scar King release, and I'm not really happy with the Kong inclusion of the Beast Glove for a couple of reasons. One is that it basically dashes any hope that we'll get something resembling a more accurate Kong from MonsterArts. It takes away some of the value from Scar King, or it makes Scar King more expensive if you don't care about the Beast Glove. It's just, I really don't like the way that they're doing this. Again, like, Tamashii and Bandai are proposing this to Toho and Legendary. Toho and Legendary are approving it, right? Like, they are the goalkeeper. So everybody seems to be on board with this. I think that it's hard to pass the buck to just Bandai when there are other companies approving these types of tactics, these types of releases. So yeah, I'm not really happy about this. I think that the head should have been included with Scar King along with the Beast Gauntlet. If that means taking Shimo down like $10 or $20, making her a little bit more affordable, I feel like that was the play. Not just making her very expensive and then adding more to sort of justify that. So, will I be picking her up? No, I'm not going to be picking her up. I would pick her up to do an unboxing on screen and like on for YouTube, do a video on her. But I did the math, $260, then conversion to Canadian, then taxed on top of that, not including shipping. She's going to run me like 400 Canadian dollars, and I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. I have the Hiya Toys. I already paid for the Hiya Toys version. I'll be doing that one. Yeah, I just, it's too expensive, and she's too large, I think. Like, I actually like how the Shimo from Hiya Toys looked at the Hong Kong premiere. They had her next to the Godzilla Evolved. I actually really liked how that looked. This, with the Cherno Alpha, you could tell, like, she's gonna be gigantic, shelf hog. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So yesterday as well, we got the official details for the Comic-Con exclusive or event exclusive Bio Goji from MonsterArts. So, hear me out on this. I have all the sympathy and all the understanding in the world when a standard looking Godzilla does not come with a beam effect or a heat ray. Right? Like, if you come from the perspective of, or like the artistic perspective of, like, Godzilla never uses his heat ray unless his spines are blue, so we're not going to include a heat ray with the standard version. Okay, I can respect that. I understand that. I as detail oriented as the fandom can be, sometimes I don't understand how people have such strong opinions against that. I'm on board. Okay, standard release isn't going to have the beam effect. But if you're going to have the version with the blue spines, the atomic heat ray charge up spines, put the fucking beam in the box. I see no justification that makes it make sense that you would not include a beam here. Now, you might say that, like, the blind's been going 13 years at this point, I think, and you should have beam effects, you should have accessories, and I fundamentally disagree with that. I think that a figure needs to come as a complete package, in the sense that, like, if it's a heat ray version, it should come with a heat ray. Okay, I actually have this issue with the poster version Godzilla 1954 as well. It comes with one stand that you have to use for either a plane or the beam effect, which means that you can't actually recreate the poster scene that the release is based off of unless you have an extra stand lying around. To me, that is, like, unacceptable. When it comes to a repaint, everything that you need should come in the box. Now, it's a little bit of a different conversation with things like Scar King or Shimo, because they are complete packages that come with Kong pieces, and I don't really like that. I think Kong should have been his own release. But in cases like this, just put the beam in the box. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I reject the idea that I should just use prior accessories that I have. So, 99,000 yen, so like 100 Canadian dollars. What is that? That's like 75, maybe even 70 US dollars at this point, based on conversion, for a suit that is, for many people, like the definitive Heisei Godzilla, and for I think even a significant portion of the fandom, like the definitive incarnation of Godzilla. You're not gonna include a beam effect. I didn't like it when they did this with the GMK Heat Ray version. I didn't like it when they did it with the GVK version. I am continuing to not like this as they do it here with Biogoji. This makes no sense. Put the beam in the box, guys. Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's a repaint. Your tooling costs are sunk. All right, you're making so much profit off this. Throw a beam in the box. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the MonsterArts releases from yesterday. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. You're gonna be picking up. Well, I already know. Most of you are not picking up Shimo, so maybe we'll skip Shimo. But what do you think about this one? You plan to pick this one up? He'll probably be as available as the event exclusive Kong, which continues to be available like years later. So yeah, maybe let me know about this one. Forget Shimo. I'm not curious about Shimo. Thanks, guys. Interview with Brian Fun will go up tomorrow, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Thank you all. Very grateful for you, and I'll talk to you again soon.